Salutations, hello, hi, and welcome to Basic Public Speaking. I'm Christy Thomas. I'm your professor and instructor for this course, and this is a weekly video chat. This week just happens to include week 1 and a few introductory things as well. Week 1, if you are going along with the calendar that is posted, is the dates February the 9th through the 13th. So I'll go ahead and let you know that this video is going to be a little longer than most videos that are posted for weekly chats until we get probably closer to the end of the course. But with that being said, there's just a lot of information because it is our first introduction to one another. When you first log on to Blackboard, I don't want the amount of things open to intimidate you. I have literally just opened everything from the start of the course to spring break, which spring break dates are March the 9th through the 13th. So these 4 weeks prior to spring break, I've just opened up everything in this course. That's every lesson, everything that is due between now and then, and along with all kinds of informational stuff. So the first thing when you log on to Blackboard, you're going to see is a welcome video. This is the video of myself just basically introducing myself and how this course is set up. Then you're going to see a welcome module, and in this module is going to have important class documents and information and various other information that I break down throughout the course as well. I want to state now, and we'll repeat it throughout this course, I am a big fan of making information accessible. So I will repeat information, post it in multiple places. Generally every week you'll have a weekly video announcement and an email, and I generally also follow up on Fridays. That's not to say every single week, you know, sometimes you don't have, but I just like to make information available and accessible to all. So let's continue moving forward. In the welcome module, you have the course syllabus, which is just the information about the course, information about ACTC, where to go to get information, policies, and all that falls under, and how to communicate with me, my email address, and whatnot. This is an online course, and I also state that I do not require you to purchase a textbook for this course because I have learning modules. Every lesson has its own module, and in these modules you'll find a Word document, a video chat, a PowerPoint presentation, and generally a publisher PDF. The PowerPoint, the Word document, and the PDF all come from the publisher. The PDF is very similar to the Word document. The only thing is that I've added the extras that if we were to have a face-to-face course, just kind of things I would to engage the thought process and the ideologies that we were learning in that lesson. So, you know, just various ways to think about the information that you are receiving. And video chats are from me breaking down and giving more examples about the lesson. I try to update my lessons every so often, but you will notice that, you know, some of my videos, the lesson videos aren't like recent, and if there's something in it that I talk about a date or something due, disregard that. All due dates and everything are associated and put in the assignment lesson modules. Okay. Also in this module, you're going to find a weekly calendar, but it has its own link on Blackboard, so you just click on it. This is a course calendar, weekly calendar I created for this course, and I generally follow it pretty well, and it lets you know these are the lessons we're looking over, this was what is due this week, blah 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 blah. Also, you're going to find Word documents and video chats about the speeches. There's a main speech and a storytelling speech, but never fear, all those have their own module as well. I just like to put a summary video chat and a summary Word document in the welcome module, just kind of to give you the Cliff Notes version, if you would. But again, I'm a big fan of accessible information. So all kinds of stuff is found in this module, just course competencies, what's student expectations, all those things. So check that out, fun stuff. Fun for all. Also on the main page, you'll find a link to ACTC's academic calendar. This lets you know any dates for drop add courses and whatnot, spring break, finals, all that. Then, of course, there's a link to my weekly calendar, a link to due dates, and it's just a Word document that tells you what it is and when it's due. Again, I like to make things as accessible as possible. So let's go ahead and discuss. That was a condensed version of what you're going to find when you open up the very top of Blackboard. Let's go ahead and discuss. Like I said, I've opened up these 4 weeks prior to spring break, all the lesson modules and all the assignments. The way when you look at Blackboard, assignments are above the lesson modules, and assignments are posted from the newest due date to the oldest. So what you'll see first, it's going to look like it's out of order, but it's in order upon when it's due. So from newest to oldest due date. And then underneath that, you're going to find your lesson modules. Lesson modules are opened in sync with how they are on the weekly calendar. So, you're going to find speech genres, informative speech. It's going to be open. And once a module is open, it remains open throughout the course. The only thing that gets closed sporadically are weekly videos. And that's if I'm not incorporating. And sometimes I'll let those linger for like a week and a half before I remove them, just so that if there's any pertinent information that was missed, it's there, especially these first few weeks. And then toward the end of the course, weekly announcements pretty much stay open because I incorporate so many weeks into a video and just information coming up and what's getting ready to be due and whatnot. So, I know, again, this is a lot of information for our week 1 for introductory world, but things to look over this week. And you will have something due this week. You have an assignment due every week prior to spring break. But I don't want that to intimidate you. So I'm going to break it down for you. This first week, again, you're looking at the 9th through the 13th. And information in this week that I want you to look at. Sorry, my computer's off to the side here. And that is the information that I need when I'm telling you. So there's the intro stuff, and that's all that stuff when you first, just the hello, welcome, look over the video, look how it, and this is kind of our week to really get a feel of how this course is set up. That's why I open so many weeks in advance, so you get a better lay of the land and a feel of how the flow is, how I create the flow of this course. There is a module labeled communication theory. It is not a required lesson module for this course, but I love including this. I teach various communication courses, and I include this in any course that I teach because it is the basis of communication, and it gives us terminology used for just our everyday communication. And public speaking, a lot of folks go into it thinking it's a very formal, think of someone speaking and a large audience, but in our modern times, it's more than just that. You have formal, informal. It could be large group. It could be small group. It could be, face-to-face communication, electronic mediated communication, which is this course, is electronic mediated communication. There's so many facets when it comes to public speaking now. So I love to include communication theory because it just discusses the terminology of from sender to receiver and all the things that go in between it, what could affect it, how to, the channels used versus. There's also a foundations module, and it'll say foundations in the history of public speaking. This is just a module that there's a Word document and some videos about the history of public speaking. And in this, you're going to hear the introduction of names you're going to hear throughout this course. But really, the takeaway from this, how it has evolved. And a lot of the ideology that we still use in public speaking today was the groundwork was laid by Plato, Aristotle, Cicero, and Gorgias. Those gentlemen, especially Aristotle, he's a big one. Aristotle and Cicero are like two heavy hitters. I like to put Aristotle in the top, the grand marshal of it all, but we'll dive deeper into that in a later time. It also just kind of discusses why studying public speaking, and then a lot of folks, public speaking is not everyone's cup of tea. Some people, they thrive in it. They run with it. They're charismatic. They have no fears going forward, but a lot of folks have a fear and anxiety associated with public speaking, and that's perfectly common and normal. So it just talks about various ways that we can overcome these anxieties and build ourselves up, hype ourselves up, if you would, or in a really cute way of saying it is fake it till you make it situation. So the foundations, it's going to look like a lot of stuff in the module, but just kind of check it out. Again, we're just exploring the lay of this course. This leads us into the next lesson module / assignment that's due this week. So there is a Canon's Rhetoric module. In this, you're going to find Word documents and a video chat just breaking down. There's five points within the canons, and then it breaks down another, like I break down even more, like with primacy and recency. But Cicero is our builder of the canons and rhetoric that we know it today. Well, him and Aristotle, but Cicero is really given credit for the canons, the 5 canons that we think of it today. So check all that stuff out. And then it's called Canon Rhetoric Round 1. We answer this, it's a questionnaire. It's only like 3 or 4 questions. It's nothing, it's not chaotic. I'm not asking for anything wildly, detailed here. We answer it once at the beginning of the course and once again at the end of the course. And they are the exact same questions. And let me stress this to you as much as I possibly can. There are no right or wrong answers here. When you go to answer this questionnaire, this first round, and that's why I created the module, just to kind of give you an idea, because in reality, you all probably have already know this, have an inkling of it, an idea of it throughout your educational journey thus far, but maybe you just didn't hear the terminology associated with it. That's why I make the module. But this questionnaire, there are no right or wrong answers. The first time you do this, which is due at the end of week 1, so on February the 13th by 5 o'clock, answer these questions to what you think they are. Again, this is no right or wrong. You're just telling what you think they are. And then at the end of the course, when you do it again, you then take and apply, excuse me, what you have learned from this course to that same questions. And it's a kind of a way for me to gauge what is working, what's not working. Am I really diving deep into these lessons? Do I need to be a little bit more elaborate? Do I need to hold back a little bit? Because sometimes I can get a little windy and over explain things. Is that a situation here? But it's really a gauge for me to know what's working, what's not working. Is it making sense? Is it clicking type situation? So, and it also, for the round 1, this is also kind of your check-in, a tendency to let me know who's clicked on and, has done the submission work, to let me know who's been on Blackboard and seen what's going on. So that's the recap of week 1. Those dates are February the 9th through the 13th. You got all your intro stuff, looky blue through the communication theory. Check out foundations, because again, as we continue these lessons, we're building a stronger foundation of information in this course, and terminology and ideology and all the good things. And then Canon's Rhetoric module / Canon Rhetoric round 1 is really what we are looking at for your assignment for week 1. And I'm kind of going to go ahead and discuss week 2, what to do with it, because that's when your first main speech comes into play. I don't want that to frighten you or freak you out in any way, shape, or form. So with that being said, week 2, the following week, which is February 16th to the 20th, P.S. no school with the ACTC system on February the 16th. So just kind of be aware of that. Lessons that week is that we're diving deep. We're diving into speech genres itself and informative speaking. That's going to be a separate video from this, so I'm not going to discuss that. But I am going to talk about the main speech one, because when it comes to the speech modules, I like to open them up at least a week and a half to 2 weeks prior to the due date, so that you have plenty of time to look at and in these modules, you will find a Word document of description and technical requirements for that particular speech, a video chat of me talking about it more and giving examples, and then links for you to submit the video. Because this is an online course, your requirement for every speech from this point on, speech, not your questionnaire, but your speeches, is that you have to record yourself delivering the speech and submit it to the link provided. And that's, again, another reason why I give adequate time, because I have learned if technology is going to fail you, it will fail you. This way you're giving yourself time. But I also know some folks thrive in procrastination energy, and then all others thrive and get the information and get it done and be done with it type situation. So this way it accommodates everyone's preferred world here. Main speech 1, I don't want you to freak out. Oh, we're going to have a speech, dude. This is just an introduction speech. And the only thing required with this speech is you delivering the speech. There is no time limit or minimum. Would I love to hear you talk for at least a minute and a half? Absolutely. Will there be a deduction points if you don't? Absolutely not. So with that being said, let's move forward and kind of discuss. There's 5 criteria that I want you to hit on in this speech. I know, you're like, I can do whatever, what? You're introducing yourself to me, and this is the criteria that I kind of want you to touch base on in the speech. 1, introduce yourself. This is the name that's going to appear on my roster. And if you have a preferred name, include that as well. Maybe your name is Selena, and perhaps your name that you prefer to go by is Lulu. I don't know. I'm just trying to give you examples here. But include that as well so that I know in future communication to make sure, I'm calling you by your preferred name. 2nd, discuss future endeavors. Oh, what does that mean? Well, I'm so glad you asked. Let me tell you. Future endeavors. This could be a chosen career path. It could be perhaps you are moving on to another educational institution after ACTC to further your education. Tell me about that. Or you can tell me your dream job. What did you want to be when you were 5 years old? Or are you still on that career path? Or you can tell me if money and location had nothing to do with it, what would be a dream educational institution that you would love to study at? Or what would be a wonderful way to spend your future days? Again, if money and time and location had nothing to play with it, perhaps you are someone that would love to just spend all your time on a beach or taking cruises or go backpacking through Europe or, write a book. These are things, be an author or just, So when I say future endeavors, it could be realistic or it could be dream or it could be all of the above. When I was younger, I thought I was going to be I wanted to be an archaeologist. One of the many career paths I wanted in my life. And I thought for sure that I would discover Atlantis. If that just puts you in the mindset of who I am. So introduce yourself, future endeavors. 3rd, tell me something commonly known about you. So this is something that everybody knows about you. It could be an activity or a hobby you're involved with, a job that you have. Just something everyone knows. Oh, they've played baseball since they could walk. Or they're really into fishing, or they rebuild cars, or they are into, this certain movie genre, or they draw, or they're known to be a thespian. They love to, act on stage and whatnot. Or just something everyone knows when they, commonly known. All right. And then the 4th one is something not commonly known. Now, here, please do not tell me your deep, dark secrets. That's not what I'm asking here, nor am I asking you to share something you are uncomfortable with sharing. I'm asking you to share something that maybe not everyone knows, but those closest to you know. Maybe you're an avid reader and not everyone knows that you are so into books or a certain genre of books or an author. Or perhaps you volunteer somewhere and not everyone knows that you volunteer there unless they really know you. Or perhaps like you have a secret passion for Italian food and not everyone knows that. This is what I'm talking about. You don't have to tell dark secrets here, whatnot. And finally, the 5th point, in this criteria is what makes you smile. What makes you happy? What brings a smile to your face? What brings you joy in this world? What brings joy to the chaos around you? Is it a vacation? Is it just taking 5 minutes out of your day to sit in a room by yourself? What brings you joy? Is it hanging out with folks? Whatever makes you happy. So again, the 5 criteria: introduce yourself, something, future endeavors, education, job, career, life, just future world. And it could be realistic or, dream. 3, something commonly known about yourself that everyone knows. 4, something not commonly as known unless they're close to you. Again, no deep dark secrets. And 5, what makes you happy, what brings you joy. That's the criteria. Again, the details are in the module labeled Main Speech 1 Introduction, Word document, video chat, and then a link to upload the video as well. Nothing else is due. There is no outline or transcript. I will never ask for a transcript in this course. A transcript is a word-for-word verbatim of what you are saying. I will never ask for that. Nope, nay. That's not something on my to-do list. So, to wrap up this video, February the 9th through the 13th is your first week in this course. You're going to open up Blackboard. It's going to look intimidating because there's going to be 4 weeks worth of information open with lessons, assignments, and just information as well. So check out that beginning information. Check out those links. Be aware where everything is located. Also, I want to, I don't think I said this, but I want to add that the way that I set up this course is that everything is opened up on Mondays. And I say no later than noon. And generally it is always open before noon and ready to go. I just say noon. I have 3 kids, ages ranging from 11 to 12. And, you know, Mondays can be Monday and pretty hard. So sometimes I may not get to post this stuff after I get everyone dropped off to school. So that's why I always say by noon. When it comes to assignments, when something is due, I allow up to 1 week. So usually if something's due on a Friday, I try to have it graded by the next Friday. It's generally graded prior to then, but I always allow myself extra time. And for some reason they're not graded within the time, I will let you know as well. But Mondays, they'll use generally a weekly video. There'll be announcements and emails letting you know, hey, these are the lessons we're looking over this week. It lets you know anything to do this week. I also give you information about upcoming due dates. And again, at least 2 weeks in advance, you will know something is due and coming up. So be prepared for that. You have due for week 1 is the Canon Rhetoric Round 1 questionnaire. Again, there are no right or wrong answers. You just pull up the questions, answer them. This is a Word document, not a video, and send them back, and that's due by 5 o'clock on Friday, February the 13th. Your first main speech, which is due February the 20th by 5 o'clock, that module is open as well, but so is the first storytelling and main speech 2 module, because again, everything from now until spring break is already opened up for you so that you have plenty of time to check it out and check the flow out. All right, I know a lot of information, and I'm sorry for that. I apologize for that. This is the first video and just me introducing myself to you and how everything works. With that being said, at any time, if you have any questions or concerns or just need to chat, please reach out to me via email. My email address is in the syllabus. It's in a few other places as well. You can also send me messages via Blackboard. I will let you know, hey, I got your message. Sometimes I might, if you're asking me something that requires my computer, I may not be near my computer, but I will respond, hey, I got your message. I'll check into that as soon as I get to my computer. Thank you so much. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all I got for this week, you know, and if there's anything else, I will, I'm sure, keep in touch with you, because again, I'm a big fan of making information easily accessible and available to everyone. I hope that you have an amazing week. I can't wait to get to know you all through your videos. Thank you so much. Bye.